Hey everybody, hope everybody is doing well. This is part 2 of a series, start to finish. We're going to take a base map and design somebody wants. We're going to build and show you how to build it, and then I'll take it all the way to drawing out some permit plans. Lord knows how long it'll take me, but hey, we'll get there eventually. So all we've done so far is bring this survey in. We've scaled it, and we've gone over several points on several things on what a survey is, the corner points, and what to look for in a survey. Just real fast before I go any further, I'm not affiliated, endorsed, paid by Realtime UVision or Idea Spectrum. I'm not even paid by YouTube or Google for these videos. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. So if you're going to critique me, at least give me some constructive criticism, not just pop off with some random stuff. I'll show you how to build several things. We'll go over the house real fast. The roof over on the right side of this house is a gabled roof. It's just my car's license plate's in the shot, and I don't want any trolls looking at my license plate and cause me some hell. I'll go through, show you how to do all these gabled style roofs, how to do this double archway here. I'll probably even show you how to do that veneer on there. There is an elevation change here in the front. I'm not going to go over that because it's not in the video. It's something that I definitely encourage. If something's not going to be in the video that you can present to somebody, don't go through the hassle of trying to figure it out, especially elevations. We all know elevations are tricky. I will tell you how to do it. The type of elevation I'm going to use is not going to cover that part of it, but I'll tell you how to cover it. I just wanted to sail through the house real fast, give you guys an idea on what we're going to be doing. This is the elevation change that we're going to have to deal with. This person is wanting to extend their patio out, and as we'll see in a minute, you can see there is that elevation will come into play. There's going to need to be a turn down beam right here, because we're going to be extending this patio out just a little bit and putting a patio cover there. We're just going to scroll through these pictures real fast, and this is about my third attempt to do this video. I'm not one of those YouTubers that's going to stop and start and meld all the pictures together. I'm just going on the fly. I'm not a professional YouTuber, so you guys will just have to deal with if I say something wrong or if I have to mute to cough or something like that, which I'll have to do here in just a little bit. Basically scrolling through here so you can kind of get a vision of what we're going to be doing. And because there is one particular picture I want to show you because we're going to be dealing with it. It's this one right here. This point, I'll show you where it is on the survey, as we're going to call it 10 inches. It's 9 3/4, but we're going to call it 10 inches. On the survey, that point is give or take right here. So from this point to the house, we have a fall. I'm sorry, from this point to the house, we have a rise of 10 inches. Now that distance, how we're going to get our elevation, and we're going to measure that because we have now two known dimensions. We have a rise of 10 at this point and a run of 14. Now if that was our 0 grade, we could simply just come in here with the terrain tool, go to slope, click right here, go to where that house is, and we would actually make it level, but I'm crunched on time, so I'm sorry, not level but straight. So we would type in 10 and we would change this to 14 just to be special, and I'll show you what that looks like. And I'm off the paper. Am I? Shouldn't be. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit transparent. No, I'm on the paper. Oh, 10 inches doesn't have that much. So I've already done this design for the customer, and that rise is definitely more than that, but you can kind of see that's what it would look like. And don't worry about the house over here yet. That's something for me later, so I can make this go a little bit faster. So we're going to delete the terrain that we put in there. So again, we have a rise of 10 inches for a run of 14 feet. So how we calculate, or how we figure out what the, oops, we got to go back to plan again. Figure out what our actual run is, because that elevation is out here. Well, that slope is all the way out there. Sorry. So it's out here. We're going to call it 24 feet. So we need to figure out what our total rise is over the course of 24 feet. We know what it is over 14, and knowing that, we can actually get our total. So what we're going to do is we have 10 inches divided by 14 feet, which gives us 0.71 per foot. That means for every foot from the house to that point, for every foot it drops 0.71. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clear that out, and we're going to go 0.71 times 24. That's our whole run. That is from the house so from the house to here, we drop a total of 17 inches. Now, knowing that, I'll go ahead and show you guys something else, but knowing that 17 inches, we could just memorize that, but for those that need to know, so you can go 17 divided by 12, 17 divided by 17 inches divided by a foot equals 1.4. To figure out what 0.4 is, you can type decimals in. Those of us in the U.S., we do. We can convert that point. What was it? 1.4. We want to figure out what that 0.4 equals in inches. So you do 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 1 foot, 3 inches. I know that was simple for some of y'all, but some people just don't know it. And hopefully I described it right, but I'm not going back to revise it. So we've got a rise from this point to the house of 1 foot, 3 inches. Now we want to drop that elevation in before we start building our house. Reason being, I don't remember if on doing houses or not, if it will sink the house, but those of you that took art classes and whatnot, when you're drawing a tree, you always start at the bottom of the tree and work your way up. If you're drawing, you always start in the foreground and work your way. You always start in the background and work your way to the foreground. Some people may do that in reverse, but you always want to start at your lowest point. So the way we're going to accomplish this slope is I'm going to drop it in here and bring it to the edge of the house. We're going to put the center piece on the corner. I'm going to go to edit points. We're going to zoom in here. We're going to select this point, and we're going to bring it outside of your paper. You can barely see these grid lines here. This is the paper. Reason being is outside the paper, all your stuff stops. Any elevation stuff will stop at the edge of the paper. So when you go to do this video, you're going to put a larger piece of paper on there and move your total project onto the larger piece of paper. and we're gonna this side of the house is going to be on the video, maybe. So this is the edge of the property, but the street is out here. So then you've got your parkway and your sidewalk. But your elevation, it doesn't continue into the house. It stops at the edge of the house. And we've got a run of 22, which I'm not too overly concerned about. It's the rise that we're going to be needing to mess with. So we want this edge in particular, this, when I say edge, this back property line, we want it to be, go ahead and change this. We want this line on that rear property line as much as possible. Out here, I'm not too worried about it. In here, I am. Now we'll go back to editing the points. Now, our rise is set at 10 feet right now. We know that rise, what we have to worry about is this part here. We're going to call it 1'3" on the whole thing though. And to make it easier, I'm just got that highlighted. Oops, did I type that right? So 1-3. Sorry if it takes me a second, guys. My eyes are not the greatest. So now we come over here. We're going to do this same thing to this one. Now we could type in that just 1.4. And it'll convert it over to... Maybe I did my math wrong. I don't know. We're just going to call it 1'3". Again, if you want to critique me, go ahead. Not really caring too much. So we're going to call that 1'3" on the whole thing. Figure out where my mouse is. So now you can see we've got it's very subtle, but that rise is there. And let me see if we can go back to clicking on the survey. And I can show you that grid line is where my paper is. And you can see where that elevation is coming up. And my elevation stops out here. We'll go back to plan view and show that. That's where that line is. But that's basically how you would do the elevation on this house. It seems like it's complicated, but it's really not. You just basically have to simplify it. You can make it more complicated if you want to, but parts of this house are not going to be in the plan. So why jack with it? Now, if you wanted to do that front elevation, in that scenario, what I would do is I'd put an area grade. So what's called? Yeah, area grade over the course of this whole house on the foundation. And you would change your height taper to 100%. You would change your height taper to 100%. And then what I would do is I'd put a ramp on there. And is it ramp? No. It is path grader. And I would run a path to the house. And then I'd probably run several paths. And then I would use the height painter to smooth it all out. That's how I would do it. Again, I've got it in a couple of my other videos. I think it's something about swell has it in there. Again, I'm doing this for free, so I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on teaching you guys everything out there in one simple thing. Plus, I'm fairly long-winded at times, so I'm trying to make this a little bit shorter for you guys than some of my other ones, some of my other videos. So, and to give you guys example, real fast, we'll go in here, we'll go to building, we'll draw in a patio real fast. And we're just going to draw it like so. Then we'll go over here and look at it. So as you can see, your patio goes to your lowest point. You actually have to raise it up to the elevation you need it at. Now you don't change the elevation, you change the height. You bring the height up to where you need it. So we would just drop that down once more. So then we're going to go to modeling, and we're going to drop a cylinder in right here. For me, whenever I'm measuring something, I guess this is just a, you can call it pro tip. All my measuring I always do with blue. It's easier to see, I can just move it and not have to worry about it. So if I did this correctly, this should be about 10 inches. 11. So we're going to call that close enough. It's showing as 10 inches. If I bring it to 11, it's a little bit over, but if we were right on the spot where I measured it, we'd probably be good. Crud, I moved the wrong thing. Actually this brings up a good point. Remember guys, I said it in my first video, use your layers. Through the years I've gotten in a bad habit of not putting in layers, and I kind of regret it now. I'm having to go back and reteach myself. Not teach, but retrain. So we're going to bring this down so it's even with the ground. And I'm below ground right there. A little bit showing. You know what? I know we're at 10. You guys can see we're pretty damn close to 10, so we know our elevation's good. So let's bounce over, see how long we've spent on this. Duration is 15 and 17 minutes, so we're still okay. So now we can start building our house. There's a couple different ways to build a house, in my opinion. So we see these measurements here. Over here it gets a little fuzzy, but I do know what those dimensions are. So one of the ways you can do it is, okay, so you know this is 4.3, 3.3 is 4 inches. So we can come in here and we can go for, let's say 4.4. Who knows? We're going to get close enough. Most of you guys know it doesn't have to be exact. So I turned snaps on or magnet on to get that point. Then I'm going to turn them back off. So this is 63.8. And that is to this corner right here is 63.8. So what we'll do is, man, hopefully I can see this. Okay, so that's coming up closer to 53. So we're going to call it 53. 53.8. 53.8 is, I forget, I've normally got a cheat sheet. You know, we're just going to call it that. And then basically what I would do is go through here and square out each individual piece. I know that this length is 1.2. Click on your magnet again. And we're going to come down. I'm sorry, I know that that going over is 1 foot. Show you guys how I know that. Magnet off. So I know it's 1 foot over and then 1 foot 2 back down. So I've gotten, instead of just going 1 over, I've gone 1 over and 1.2 down. This is 16.2. So I'd come back, magnet on, go over 16.2. Sorry, turn the magnet off since we want to get a little bit closer. We're going to call it right there. And basically you can square this whole thing out, and that will give you your house outline. Another way to do this, once you get over to these bay windows, it gets a little bit more tricky. I'll show you a couple, probably just one way to do it, depending upon how our time goes. Actually, I'll show you. Another thing you can do is go to building, house, find your, actually, let's delete this out. We're going to hit L, get all the shapes, delete. Go to house, find you a good starting point. When you're looking for a starting point, you want as many, when doing this method, you want as many right angles as possible, in my opinion, unless you know the dimensions of a 45. These dimensions you kind of got to guess on unless you measured them. Same with these ones. So I'm going to work from left to right, or I could start here and work counterclockwise. But we're going to start right here. We're going to have magnets on, and all I did was left click right there, and I'm going to hit enter. Your angle, as you can see right here, I'm working to the left, is 180 degrees, and the length was 4.3. 4.3. Then you hit enter. Hit enter again, and actually I'm going to bounce over to my other screen. I'm going to pull this survey over. And this is just on my second screen, which for you guys is on the lower right hand corner. So our next dimension was 53.8. So I've set the snaps on so I can get the 90-degree angles really easily. So I move close, it'll snap to 90, or it'll move to 90, or apparently close to it. So type in 90, hit tab is another way. 53, got a cough. So that was 53.8. Hit enter. And remember, this one was, and the reason I know this, if you look in this area here, it's got kind of the same look as this does. This was a glare off the survey because he had it laminated. After being there and reading surveys so long, I basically know that that's going to mirror this side. So I've moved my mouse over and I'm hitting enter, and our angle is 0. Tab, 1 foot, hit enter again, and we know the downward angle is 270. That's going to be straight down or straight south. Our length was 1.5? I don't remember now. 1.2. Oops, bring your mouse back over to this screen. And 1.2, hit enter. So you'll basically do that around the entire house, all the way around, and basically you're just building yourself an outline. Now, that's one way to do that. I'm just going to build a house off screen, so I'm not taking up a bunch of y'all's time. Now, when it comes to this over here, though, if it were me, what I would do is I would come in here. Let's get to a couple point. Well, actually, our stopping point would be right here. Now, I did, knowing that these were going to be a problem, I measured this out there, and it was about it was close to 3 feet. And I know that the survey is fairly close. So, no, not quite. Let's go ahead and delete that. So you can do a couple different things. What I would do, since I know it's close to 3 feet, and I'm sure there's a great scientific way, and somebody may correct me on how to do this. But 1, 2, 3, actually it's probably was it 0.33? So I'm a little bit off on that corner, but we're okay. So all I did was Control C, Control V. And as most of you know, you just got to get close. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now that we got a semi layout here, what I would do is to make sure to get your angles a little bit tighter. Come in here and line up your line versus the line on the piece of paper or on the survey. That's pretty close right there. So I'll move that into place. This one is a little bit off. So we're going to turn that angle. Got it pretty close. So now we're going to move it into place. And with this one, come on. We're going to turn it. And I think that's pretty close. Nope, a little bit off. And yeah, it's pretty close. That a little bit better. And then when I'm dropping that house in, I'll just go point to point to point to point, and then bring it over. I'll do, and I'm going to put, this is that brown line that you see there, that is the edge of my elevation. And my elevation is cutting into my house over there also. So I'm going to edit these points, and I'm going to pull that back a bit. So I'm basically reducing my run, pulling it outside the house. And on this one, well, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here so it's off the property line. Let's check our time, because I know I'm probably getting pretty close. 28 minutes, yeah. Alright, so that was going over the elevation. I will drop this house in off camera, unless, actually what am I going to do here? Because there's several different things in this. Let's look at the pictures real fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an outline of the house off camera. And the reason I'm going to do that is, let's go back to 10 points to name the cartoon. As you can see, we got several things. I'm not going to mess with that because that's going to be complicated. We've got roof style changes. So I'm just going to draw in an outline of the house. And then I'll show you guys how to jack with roof lines and elevations of roof lines, stuff like that, and houses. So I'll do an outline off camera, and then in my next video we'll build portions of the house, if that makes sense. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy that. I know it's 30 minutes of a lot of blabbering, but and it took me so long to get here. Just you guys know the time of year. We're feast or famine industry, and right now it's feast, and it wears us out. But if guys have any other questions in the meantime, feel free to shoot me a message or comment or whatnot. Any tips or advice or any add-ons you want to add on to the video, feel free. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Be safe out there and go make that money.